And we are live. Hello, everyone. So nice to see you guys here tonight. Thanks for being here. Welcome to another Inhumanoids Live. I'm your host, Barton Nunnelly. Your co-host tonight, as always, my beautiful wife, Latisha.
Hi, guys. Hello, everybody.
Also with us again is Krista from the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Hello, Krista. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Much better than I was last week.
Good deal. Glad you're feeling better. I'm really wore out. Yeah. Been in Branson and driving and all that good stuff. So
that was a beautiful view, though.
I know, right? I was a little spoiled.
You better get some rest, Krista. We have a big weekend coming up now.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
You want to tell everybody what's going on this weekend that don't know?
Yeah, we have the Alabama Bigfoot Conference. It starts Friday night at Western Sizzlin', and that it actually is. There isn't any room left in there, but however, it is a public restaurant, so you're more than welcome to come in and hang with us and have dinner with us. And then Saturday we have the conference, and it is all at the Performing Arts Center in Anniston, Alabama. And who else speaking? Let me think now. If I miss someone, tell me. So we have Bart, you're speaking, Martin Groves, Daryl Denton, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Greg Ogles, Jason McLean, Brandy and I, and Tex is the MC. I think I got everybody, didn't I?
I think so.
I think you did.
So that's Saturday. Come see us, everybody.
Yep.
Right. And if there's not enough room at our table, you can pull up a chair and just, sit around and talk.
Bart said you can sit in his lap and I'll let you. I don't care.
What? I never said that. It's been too long since we've been here, guys. It seems like it's been forever. It's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We've had just a string of technical difficulties here beyond our control. Computer malfunctions, internet malfunctions, constant stormy weather. Including tornadoes, thickness, crazy raucous cicada noises outside. It keeps me from getting in the woods, and you can't hear anything but the cicadas. So, but all that's over with now, and everything's going back to normal. We're going to be on a normal schedule after this weekend as we start dropping our normal content. So, guys, thanks for being patient with us. We really appreciate it. We love every one of you. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. We've had, oh my goodness, just so many people contacting us. I've got so many emails to read, so many phone calls to make. And I'm going to be sharing all of this with you guys, as always. Before we get started, man, we got a good show tonight. We got a great guest. Oh, Amy Creel, you're sailing away this weekend without me again. Shame on you. So we got a great guest tonight, but before we get started, honey, why don't you do the prayer list, please?
Okay, so we're going to do the prayer list. I'm going to do birthdays, and then I have just a little bit of some things I want to talk about real quick. Tonight we need prayers for Werewolf 5674. He's having eye surgery.
Prayers for
you, brother. Rhonda Howard's friend, Cindy. Patricia Garrison. Lisa Johnson. Christy Leslie. Judy Wheeler. David Hughes, mom and dad. Tyrone Tricky, Brandy Butchers and her mom, Sharon, Polly, Vic and Vera Gulati, Sherry Griffey, Trey Hood, Krista Tweedy and her family, and Bennett. How is Bennett doing?
Actually, Bennett is doing good. All of his tests came back great. So, yeah, you can take him off.
Okay. All right. Jason Moore, stepdad, John Richards, Cowboy 4572's wife, Cindy, Kevin and Dee Murphy, Scott Slipe's daughter, Megan, Suji's brother, Mindy's friend, Eddie, Mindy Masters, that is, and her friend, Eddie, Daryl Denton. I think he's getting pretty close to being healed up, but still needs some prayers to get him the rest of the way there. Martin Groves still isn't feeling well. Shell Dion Clokey has asked for prayers for, I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. Jackie and C.H. Brill. Gina Cook's son Christopher had surgery on his hand this morning, so he needs some prayers. Mickey G and Brandon, they're needing some prayers. Spilling Tea and her family needing prayers. Sam Burton, Truth Walker. My brother Kevin, he's not doing real well right now. He could really use some prayers from you guys. Mark Staten, He lost his longtime friend, his fur buddy. So it's we need some prayers. That's a hard thing to do.
Right.
Lose your fur buddy. Henry White Jr., Brother Heck, Scott Pace, Bob Johnson, Felicia Humphrey's husband Randy, Harley Owens family, Madeline Chapp's grandmother, Tyler Oliver's uncle Kenny, Crystal Cook's grandpa Doug, Lloyd Davis's sister Louise and Jerry, Linda Bergman's nephew, Eric, and Scott Hanna's got stage 4 liver failure. So they all need some prayers, guys. Need you to all pray for them.
Remember them in your prayers, please.
We have birthdays. Christy Crawford, Roger Gay. Yours is coming right up, so happy birthday, Roger. Ania and Brandy Butcher. If you have a birthday in June and you haven't let me know, please let me know so I can give you a shout out. I have a couple of other things I want to just say. Tonight, we have a bunch of people that have returned. Guys, we have decided that we are going to give second chances. You know, everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody makes mistakes. So please, respect our wishes, that if we want to forgive somebody, that we can forgive them and just let it go. So we're asking everybody to be nice and chat tonight. If you see somebody in there that you might not want to say hi to, just don't say hi. Just please be nice. Keep it civil.
Please be respectful.
We're giving second chances. That's what we want to do as Christians, and just please respect that.
Right.
Now.
Can't preach forgiveness and not practice it,
right? Okay, so now the fun part. So we went to the mailbox, and then we've met some people, and wow. Okay, so I just want to show a few gifts that we've gotten here real quick. This is, I don't know if you can see this. This is a cutout that we received from one of our, sorry, it's upside down.
It's a magnet.
It is a magnet cutout, a metal magnet cutout. It's so cool. It looks really good on my front door, too. I have a metal front door, so we got that from one of our viewers. Truth Walker. I hope you don't mind me telling this, Truth Walker. She gave me this.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful? You can wear it. It's got the, which way?
Other way.
Very pretty.
That.
Oh, very nice.
She got Bart this. It kind of reminds me of the front of his, what's the name of your spear, your new spear?
Carnage?
Your new spear that they made.
Cool.
That's from.
That's awesome.
Retribution. Okay, and then you can read the card.
Okay, yeah, this is from Truth Walker. Now, this is, the lady that won the Barton Spartan contest. And he says, you are a warrior. You know when to conquer and when to give grace. You wear a badge of honor that others look up to. You demonstrate courage and others follow. You walk with integrity that has earned you respect. You are a force to be reckoned with, bold, brave, valiant. You are one that others admire, generous, compassionate, kind. You are a warrior with strength and heart. Thanks for everything you do to bring the truth out of the shadows and into the light. Much love. Truth Walker. Thank you so much, Truth Walker. That means a lot.
It does.
Very kind words.
Yes. And then today,
hope I can live up to them.
Bart went to the mailbox today, and I went to the mailbox today, and you can tell him about this.
This is from Brother Tim. Let's see if I can get this in there.
The beautiful ring.
Beautiful ring. It's put on the whole armor of God. Now I have to get this sized. I think it's like size 47 for the Incredible Hulk, but I will get this size, and I'll be wearing this, Brother Tim.
Very nice.
That's so much.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Brother Vic and Brother Gary.
So this is also from Tim. He had a special shirt made. I hope you can see it.
It says Barton Inhumanoids.
Okay, wait till you see the back, though. This is great, y'all.
That's cool. That's awesome.
You think everybody can see that? Can everybody see that?
It says 4 out of 5 cryptids prefer Shasta.
Tim, you're such a joker. That's very funny.
Oh, that's hilarious. And he even cut the sleeves out, so
that's great. Even sleeveless.
That's awesome.
and then we went
Now,
and
this is from someone in the UK who did not put their return address on the.
they did not put
the
their
package,
return
so-
address. I don't have any idea. We think we may know who these are from, but we're not sure. So Bart got this,
Very cool.
and then I got this same shirt, just
Different
different.
color. Very cool.
Right?
So we want to thank everybody for your wonderful gifts and things that you've sent us, and just
Yeah.
your thoughts and prayers. And we love all of you. And somebody said Shasta doesn't hold a candle to. Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't read that. That was a joke. No one drinks Shasta around the Nunnelly household, I promise you. But thanks, Gary, for getting the memberships. Thank you, brother Vic, for your generous donation. We love you, bro. And thanks to brother Victor, we now have a
Well, we can show that if you want me to.
what?
He
Yeah,
might not
sure.
want us to.
Okay, well,
It's what he bought us.
yeah, he bought us a drone that shoots 4K video now. We're gonna be using that, dude. We have to register it and get the license and all that stuff. And but before long, you'll be seeing some really cool drone footage. I wish we would have had it a few weeks ago down to LBL.
Right.
But everything going like it's going, we're gonna be needing that. We also have a generous viewer who's getting ready to help us get a thermal imaging camera. Thank you, Catherine Hunt. Thank you so much. Good to see you here. Good to see all my friends here. Brother William, Larry Shade, Codega. How you doing, Rye? Gary, Truth Walker, there you are.
It's so good to see everybody.
Southwest 10, how you doing, brother? Audacious Amber, Crystal, Miranda, Freaky Geek, you guys, 86. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate that.
Let's Angie, if you can hear us, you are not connected anymore. Please reconnect.
Yeah,
So we can get you in here. We've lost our guest, guys. Just give us.
Well, they don't have their microphone and camera turned on.
Okay, well, I'm hoping. Oh, yeah, so I guess I need to type that, huh? All right.
Yeah, we can't even add her to the stream right now.
Mhm.
Right, so we might just have to be, forced to have a
You may have
casual
to call her.
conversation for a while, which is just
Okay.
fine. We got a lot going on.
I think she's probably reconnecting now.
Yeah.
A lot of big plans for after the conference, after the Alabama conference. This will be, I've decided it will be my last conference that I'm going to speak at. It's simply, I'm not a public speaker. I never chose to be an orator. That's why I'm a writer. But doing this for favor to my wolf sister, Krista. But after this, I'm going to really double down and start getting very serious with the YouTube content. I'm so far behind right now with the comments and the videos. And if you guys have sent me messages and with your phone numbers, please be patient. I will call you. It just takes a little time. And like I say, we've been beset with a bunch of problems here in the last couple of weeks, but all that's over. We're getting right back to normal and everything's going to be fine. I have a big announcement coming up in a week or two. Should be the next live stream after the Alabama conference. I think you guys are going to be surprised and pleased. So
I think you're going to have to
definitely
call Angie.
stick around. Okay, let me just.
So, guys, make sure tonight, if you have any questions, that you put everything in caps so that Krista or I can catch it. Krista, I'm going to let you, if you don't care, you'll do the comments because I always mess you up every time.
I got you.
I'll click one and then you'll click it and then I just mess you up. So I'm just going to let you take care of that.
I got you.
We're going to try to get our guest on here.
Thank you, Sugar Britches. Thank you, hon, so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate that. Hello, Holly.
Nice to tease us. Sorry, spilling tea with Spunky Sparky. We're not trying to tease you.
You're going to be really happy, Sparky. I promise you. A lot of exciting things coming up for this channel.
Penny Van, I'm going to take your hat to, thank you, Liberty. I'm going to take the hat and make sure that Matt gets it this weekend. I've already got it boxed up, ready to go. So let you know that. And anybody has any questions while we're waiting for our guest to try to get loaded
There
back
was
on?
a question. There actually was a question.
Thank you, Liberty. Incredible discoveries and revelations on LBL going on here all the time. Yes, sir. The reason why that is because we only live an hour and a half away, and we can be there quite often.
Mhm.
So, yeah, since I've been going for 20 years without any really luck at all or success, and suddenly it's like the good Lord has opened up a gate and is showing me all the secrets of the LBL. So I'm going to try to be ready next time, right? You know, I get out the van to use the bathroom and accidentally catch vocalizations from a scientifically verified unknown animal. So this animal that screamed, I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Hopefully you did. You saw that video, but scream using 2 octaves at the same time, which is impossible for a human to do. And I'm not even sure an animal can do that. So yeah, a lot of crazy things going on there. And we're going to be going back soon. We have a mission this next time. So we'll definitely be taking you guys with us. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
You just had a really quick question. It says, and I know you answered it, but they might have come on after. It says, Barton, have you used the drone yet?
No.
What happened was when we got the drone, I got it out. I was excited. I got the instructions out. I got everything ready to go, got everything charged up. And you have to download an app in order to use your phone with the drone so that it'll bring it back home if you happen to lose it. And there was no app for that drone. So I had to contact the company and send in all the information on the drone. They apologized. They said it would be 24 hours to 5 days before they got the app up and running. They had to fix some bug issues in it. So within the next 5 days, we should have our drone in the air.
Right.
As long as I don't crash it in the house before we get it outside.
Well, I think I'll take over the drone. You got the night vision camera.
Yeah.
She'll hardly even let me hold that thing, and I don't think that's very fair. So I might be taking over the drone, honey.
Yeah, but you're clumsy.
No, I'm not either. I'm like a jungle cat. So Shanna says, so glad that you were spared the bad weather. Yeah, thank you so much, Shanna, or Shauna. I don't know how you pronounce that, but I appreciate that. We were spared most of the bad weather. Tornadoes were all around us, and
She said send her the link again, please.
Okay, yeah, tornadoes were everywhere, all across the USA that night. So, okay, let's see here.
Are you sending the link?
Yeah, we're good. We're gonna send it over the phone real quick.
Yep.
Extra parts, man. We got it. We do have extra parts, so we may need you to come and teach us how to fly it, Poncho.
Right, Poncho.
You
We saw you doing your drone over there at Ashmore States.
Yeah, he was.
Is he going to be? Well, I guess I could ask him. Poncho, are you going to be in Alabama?
I don't believe he is. I think he said he was going to the air show in St. Louis. I seen him comment.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Roger, for saying that. We appreciate it.
I didn't get it.
He said the information you're bringing us from LBL is worthy of national attention, Bart.
Thanks, Roger. I appreciate that, man. It's kind of funny. It seems like no one's paying attention at all. I've only been doing this 40 years and just now starting to get a lot of evidence, and it's like crickets. It's hard to figure that out, but be that as it may, it's for the
people
people.
Are scared, maybe getting a little scared because everything is just opening up and just coming forward, and everything's.
Yeah, it's like the good Lord's opened the gate and it's showing me all the secrets of the LBL now, and it's astounding, really. And
Mickey G, you'll be here soon enough.
Jay
Right.
says you got to name the drone.
Oh, now we got an. Oh, we
we got to name the drone, huh? Well, okay, that sounds like another contest for the viewers.
And also, I think we're only about 50 or 40 away from having 8,000 subs.
Yeah, about
I believe
40
we're
away.
about 40,000. I believe we're about 40 or 50 people away from having 8,000 subs. So maybe if we get 8,000 subs by next week, we may have a contest for the shirt, a hat, or maybe a book, or maybe naming the drone.
Right.
So
Roger Williams, I'm still going to call you, brother. I have not forgotten. I'll probably see you before I get to call you on the phone, though.
I'm going to put this in chat for her real quick. She needs it in chat. So.
And Truth Walker.
It should be the same. I don't understand why you have to drop it in chat.
No, she's having trouble.
I just texted it to her.
I'm just going to paste it in here real quick.
It should go through. It's the same link.
So, Truth Walker, I'm almost finished with your sketch, hon. I want it to be special. I don't want it to be rushed. And but we've had the grandkids for a week now, right?
Well, we had them for almost 2 weeks.
We're almost 2 weeks. So I didn't have much time to work on it, but I've been working on it the last couple of nights. So I will be presenting you with that in Alabama. And thank you so much for being a Barton Spartan, and I hope it paid off for you. I hope you found that it was well worth it, your donations, and we put them to good use. So anyone else that wants to be a member of the Barton Spartans will get an opportunity to come on a live investigation with Latisha and I.
Hey, Scott, glad you're here. Better late than never.
Right?
Well, okay, so it's not going to allow her to connect, or it won't let her get through via loading any which way she tries to go in. So
Bart, do you have her phone number? Can you just go and put her on speakerphone? Let's just go that way.
Yeah, we can do that.
We're going to have to try that this time. Just tell her to speak clear and loud.
She can hear you right now, honey.
Okay.
Okay, Angie, I'm going to call you right now, okay? Let me close out of everything. So Angie is just a wealth of information when it comes to the paranormal in Kentucky. Now let's turn it up.
Thank you, Gary.
Now, you guys, we'll use our phone here. Let me know if you can hear this, okay?
I put her on speaker.
The last time this didn't work too well. I think it was called to the screen.
Hello.
Hello, Angie. How you doing tonight, hon?
I'm right. How are you?
We're fine.
The issue on mine is the one that we tried to do initially keeps trying to send me to go through Safari, but when I went through Safari the last time, it didn't show me up to you all. But when you drop the link in the chat was how, and it's not the other way. It's not allowing my cam or my microphone to be opened up. But when you dropped it in the chat, on the YouTube chat, I was able to get in, and that's where I was at.
Well, we're just glad to have you here.
Okay, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah. Can everybody hear Angie okay?
Yep, we can hear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Say good audio or bad audio or.
Everybody pray for Ohio. They say they're getting ready to get hit by storms.
Really?
So that's what Truthy will.
Hello there, Cryptidville. Hello, Mark, brother Mark. How you doing? Got a couple of Wolf brothers and sisters in here tonight.
Squatchin Holler. Hey, good to see you again.
Good to see Roger. I got to talk to Roger. I got to be on his show and brother Mark's show and a couple more too. So we'll be busy. But, so, Sister Angie, will you tell us a little bit about yourself for those? We've been talking for several months now, but for the people, the listeners who don't know much about you, can you tell them a little bit about you, please?
Sure. Family person, first and foremost. Follower of Jesus. Our family have had in the community has had several unexplained events that you didn't think much of at the time, but thinking back on it, which for some it scared them to death at the time, but thinking back on it, it is a big deal. There's more than what we thought, more than meets the eye. Happily married with a family, worked business administration. Well, worked all my life ever since teenagehood. Babysat and then sewed like home interior, Tupperware, all that good stuff that we all do.
Yeah, I do that myself quite often.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So, where are you located, Angie? For those
that's what I meant to say.
Kentucky girl.
Yeah.
There's Cameron. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of you.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of strange things happen in the state of Kentucky. Would you agree with that, Angie?
Yes, and where I'm from, it's a tri-border because I get like the best. Okay, so it's like on 3 county lines.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other end, it would be probably like a couple other or 3 or more county lines. So, but where I'm located now, I'm in a small city, like town and country, that's very booming. It's about an hour away from where I'm from.
Right.
But we heard an owl the other night, if you can believe that, for the first time since we've been here.
Really?
Yeah,
A
hoot
bog
owl.
owl?
Pardon?
A barred owl is what you're talking about? The one that goes, hoo, 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 hoo.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, what we call a hoot owl. A screech
Okay.
owl will make your hair stand on top of
Right?
your head.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But
a very
right
different
after
sound.
we heard that, I come in and I told my husband, I said, I heard a hoot owl. And I was like three, because I waited till 3 times to make sure I was hearing what I was hearing. Because we have a farm across the road. And they have a donkey over there. He acts up, which, you know, donkeys are really good about protecting the farm.
Yeah.
But anyway, I came in and I said, I heard a hoot owl. And he said, I don't think we've heard one of those since we've been down here, which has been like probably 10 to 13 years now.
Really?
Yes.
That's
and
astounding.
you then outside, just right outside of our house, we heard a kind of sound.
Like a turkey?
Just, yes. It was something like that. Even he heard it, but I said from the distance that was, I know owls can make all kinds of sounds. I said from the distance that it was in just a few seconds, I don't think it would have traveled from here to the back of the house that quick, and we don't have, the trees are not around the house or the building. They're, you know, well, you know how it is in cities, or cut town and country, should I say.
Yeah. Right.
You know, they're cut away and in certain patches, or, you know, in a yard, they're cultivated to where, unlike where I'm from, to where they're just all around you. But yeah, he heard it too, and I love it when he has to hear or see what I say.
Yeah. So I get to talk to the barred owls almost every night. We have a big, huge thicket right across the street from our house, and they're usually full of barred owls. So I go over there and sometimes have a little conversation with them. I don't know what the heck they're saying, but they sure do like to talk.
They do, and you know, we used to have a dog back home that would howl, and him and that owl would have a conversation.
Wow.
I don't know what it was about his howling, but I can't remember who would get it started, but the other would answer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they would go back and forth.
That's unusual. How you doing, War Criminal 7? How you doing, brother? Angie, what got you started in all this paranormal stuff?
Well, I've always been, I guess it's around, well, you know, the first experience, I wanted to completely block that out of my mind that I told you all about previously.
Yeah.
So it
let's
was
go
really
over that
that
again.
because that was just like, again.
Yes, tell everybody. Let's just pretend like we're starting over
Okay.
there. I know you and I have been talking for a long time, and I know a lot of stories that you said.
Okay.
The people,
Sure.
listeners don't. So.
Well, let's just put it bluntly. There was, okay, my mom and her sister married a set of brothers, not their own brothers, by the way, for anyone who's listening.
We're from Kentucky, but Kentucky's not like that, really, honestly.
Right. A set of another brother.
We don't do that.
Right, yes. One had psychiatric issues because comp care had put him, and I don't know if anyone is aware or not, but the psychiatric drugs from the 70s and 80s, people were used as guinea pigs, and it just worsened the conditions and caused a lot of more pain and death than it did cure. Let's just leave it at, let's just say it that way so people can understand.
Right.
And it worsened his conditions, and they were going through of course, one was telling one thing and one was telling the other, and I don't think either, especially one, wasn't being honest, and one was going around telling everybody, family, when I say our side of the family, mom's side of the family, everything that was going on. And you just don't do that when you've got children and a father and a brother and a bunch of men that can go to war and kill each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
There's
So
there's a way to handle things. There's a
Yeah.
way to get out of things, and there's a way to not do things.
feuding is one of the things that Kentuckians are famous for, but we don't do that either anymore. So I just want everybody to know that we're civilized now.
Right. But you know what? The way things are going, let them away from here think that we're mean.
Right. Yeah. The
So,
meaner the
so we
better.
don't have that trouble coming in.
We are still pretty mean now when it comes to our own people, our own our property.
Exactly. Of our territory and our children and people are, and God, we will fight people. Don't think we won't. We will. We're the most generous people. We'll give you a shirt off our backs. We'll feed you.
Yeah.
We'll be good to you regardless of who you love, what you know, outside from anything satanic.
Right.
Put it that way.
Right.
But anyways, we were going through, I mean, using this as a curse word, but I'm just using it as a figure to explain this. We were going through hell.
Yeah.
My poor old daddy was stressed out trying to help his older brother because they lost their mother when my dad was only at the tender age of 10. And his older brother, the oldest brother between him and himself was like 25 years. And his sister was like closest to him was probably like 13 or something, and then his brother was 14. There's 12 children, but 2 of them died at birth or not long after. So
Yeah.
his brother wasn't just a brother to him. He was like a teacher, mentor, guardian. Okay, so that was the brother that he was closest to. So he did everything he knew to do to help his brother, but now he didn't know everything that was going on between the marital issue.
Yeah.
Because he would always stand up for what was right. He'd even got into it with his brother before over what was right. But anyways, we were going through hell. We were going to every psychiatric unit, staying with him, all that stuff. And of course, there was people stirring the pot. And it finally came to where he was dating a nurse. I was looking well. She had moved on and had a boyfriend, but they still had keys to my uncle's house. And they told, my uncle told my dad, and the nurse told my dad, take a break. You go ahead and go, because my dad liked to hunt. And he was hunting with my mom's first cousins, which her aunt, the man that she was married to, they also were in the same situation to where a set of sisters married a set of brothers.
Oh, wow.
And they were going through the same thing. His brother had committed suicide, and they had marriage turmoil. So they understood completely what Dad was going through, and we ended up moving in with them when the event happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what time my dad was gone, finally taking a break, in 1986, he went with them. They took him on a special hunting trip. And the nurse came to see him. She couldn't get a hold of him because he was scheduled to go on a fishing trip with his adult boys. And she came over there and she got my mommy. And my mommy just knew. My mommy was out mowing. And I can remember her taking Avon Skin So Soft to this day to her legs to clean her legs off.
That's what Latisha does for me almost every night.
Yes, it's a dandy.
I'm just kidding.
Skin So Soft is a miracle worker.
I don't even know what that is, hon.
Actually, a friend of ours Holly just sent me a bottle of Skin So Soft. Remember
Really?
about it in the mail? It's supposed to help with mosquitoes.
It keeps
okay.
bugs. It keeps the gnats, the cancels, whatever they're called.
No seals.
Fleas off animals. I mean, there's a long list of what our Skin So Soft actually does safely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Skin So Soft. Okay.
Yes, from Avon. Avon's not paying me to say this, by the way, but they should be.
Right. they'll send you a check shortly.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for it.
Right.
I just want my friend.
No, I don't shave my legs. I honestly don't. Smurfy. Oh,
But
you're still cut up, aren't you?
But anyway, the nurse, I can remember it in my little 8-9-year-old mind like it was yesterday. the nurse came and got my mom, and of course, you know how kids are. I want to go. And Mommy just knew deep in her heart, no, you're not going. She says, no, you stay here. You're not going. So they went over there, and of course, they couldn't get in, so they had to call the oldest son, who had to go through the basement. And I remember in their living room, they had to reach. Now, they had a nice home, people. I'm talking about, see, he was like a superintendent for a coal company. So, I mean, he worked and had nice things, and he believed in taking care of them, too.
Hey, Claire Ellis.
Yeah.
And they both in mine worked hard too, but it's taking care of the home and cleaning and everything. I'll give them both their due on their, you know. But anyways, there was a vent in the living room that I was always scared to death of because you could fall through it if you removed it. But it was way down into the basement, you know. But that's what my cousin had to crawl up through. And he crawled up in there, and they waited at the door for him. And when he came back to the door, my mom said he was just hanging his head down and just shook his head and said, he couldn't get it out. And remember now, there would be turmoil between the children and the father, okay? But anyway, Mom went in there and looked around, bless her heart. She's had to be so strong. And the nurse was whatever. Mommy said, oh, see if you can resuscitate him. Because Mommy was going into shock.
Yeah.
Because she knew what it would do to Daddy with everything he'd already went through. And Mommy said, oh, I think I hear a heartbeat. And the nurse, she looked sympathetically at Mommy. She said, no, honey. She said, you didn't hear a heartbeat. Because he had been gone for a while. But anyway,
Terrible.
But anyway, during through all that, there was so much more going on. I just can't elaborate. But just say sides were taken, stuff was said, wasn't said to the adults, but people were slipping around saying things where I could hear things that no child. If I could say if there was a moment in time that my innocence was stolen, it was during that time.
Well, how old were you now?
I was 8, 9.
Yeah. Now, is this when the paranormal stuff started happening to you and your family?
Yes. Yes, that's when I seen we were moving because of the event. And Mom was inside trying to think of the last things that she needed because, you know, this was hard on her having to leave her home. It was hard on all of us, I guess, except for Dad, who needed to get out of there because she said there were some that were antagonizing my dad.
Mm-hmm.
That were they were poking the bear, should you say.
Right.
And she's like, if I don't get him out of here, there's going to be a killing. I'm just being honest. This is just what was going on and
sure.
Events, you know.
And what was it that you saw?
Okay. I was sitting out in the vehicle with my dad because, like I said, we were ready to go, but Mom had went back in because she had forgotten something. And what time we were sitting out there, I just, you know how children that just look around and glance around and kind of bored and just waiting. See, our truck was a Ranger. So I was sitting there waiting for Mom to come back out. And I can't remember what. I can feel sometimes if people are looking at me.
Yeah.
You know, that instinct we have.
Right.
I think it might have been something like that. But I could feel something, and I looked up there, and I seen the face. I mean, to tell you that I just, when I seen him, I was like, oh, my Lord. And I just looked off. And I said, that's not. That can't be. You know, whatever. And then I looked back again, and there it was, the same. And I done that like 2 or 3 times.
Where was the face?
The face was above the house in a spot that I would call the garden spot where we used to raise a garden on the hillside. And then back behind it, which that's been, you know, there's been a driveway put through there because there's been homes set up behind there and stuff. But the woods and forest line was set a little bit further back from that.
Right. Now, what did the face look like that scared you so bad, Angie?
It looked like a giant. I mean, like if it had been a normal size, the eyes alone would have scared me to death, but the size of the head was huge. And it had big, red, glowing eyes. And I mean, nothing about this, and I love cats, nothing about this was endearing whatsoever.
So it had the face of a giant cat?
A giant black cat.
Okay.
Black as night. And it rendered me, let's put it this way. It scared me so bad I couldn't move and I couldn't speak. And finally, my dad, knowing his child like he does, or did, my dad's passed on now, he looked down at me and he was looking all around and he said, "Baby," he said, "what's wrong?" And I was like, I just couldn't get out. And finally, I just said, "Daddy," and just launched myself into him. I never could tell him explain to him what I seen.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked around, and I just buried myself into him, closing my eyes, not wanting to see that thing, but it burned its impression into my brain for years. I was traumatized by that thing.
Yeah. Now, how big did you say it was? You said it was giant.
Yes,
how
it
big
was like
is
a giant. Well, I compared it to one of the Zenith floor model TVs.
Mm-hmm.
But in my child's mind, I would say it was even bigger than that.
Right. Well, I know they're here in Kentucky because I've seen them 3 times myself. So definitely.
And that thing, absolutely, it was evil. It was evil, and it was almost like it was trying to keep me. Because I had a hard time after looking at it. I had a hard time, kind of, even though I was mortified. There, I remember kind of having a hard time looking away too.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you don't realize that as a child, but when you get older and you get to pondering on it, it took this many years for me to be able to talk about this because it was something that we never spoke about.
Yeah.
After the event and them telling the family what had went on, but this is what my dad said. My face, I hate to see the expression on a child, the look on my face. It got him, and he was looking everywhere. And my daddy was the type of man, he didn't care. There was one thing he feared. That was losing his family and the fear of God. That was the two. Now, I'm not saying there's things that didn't come upon him that would scare him or whatever, but now he was, just put it this way, he was a local legend that no one messed with because he was the gentleman that would absolutely. He wasn't the type of coward that would just go around and shoot somebody. He would go bare knuckles. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Sounds like my daddy.
Yeah,
exactly,
he would go
like
bare. He would want to give somebody a good whipping and straighten them up, but he didn't have no desire to kill people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just like old-fashioned gentlemen used to be, but had a temper of a volcano.
Wow.
But anyways, he was looking around to see what it was, and he couldn't see it. And he told my mommy, he called her name. He said, "Hurry up," because my aunt heard it later. And it probably sounded grumpy to their ears. But my aunt hearing it, she said, "Is that what he was talking?" I said, "That's exactly what he was talking about." He actually hollered and told my mom, he said, to hurry up and get out of there. Said, "This place is evil." Because I wasn't a child prone to dramatics.
Right.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to be off for a minute.
And so that was your first experience with the unknown, Angie, seeing that giant black panther.
Okay. Well, after that, that was something that I kind of whatever, but my brother got married to his wife, and she had a grandmother, and she was around in churches and stuff when they would exorcise demons from people. And then, I would hear about some stuff through her, but the next thing that I can remember, I was probably about, I don't know, say 14, But I used to stay up at my brother's house all night and watch TV, and it helped where I would sit up late because I've always had insomnia. And I was always a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
And he could trust me to get him up for work on time, which was always early, like 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah.
Usually, maybe even earlier, still dark or something. But I would get him up, and then when I got ready for bed, I'd just go home, jump in the bed. Well, there was one night. I mean, there's a little stretch between the house, but little country stretches is different from little city stretches where people just go across the sidewalk or across the yard or whatever. We go up and over,
Yeah, hills and hollers. Thank you, Hand of Odd. Our guest tonight is Angie, Sister Angie, better known as a face in the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I
I started walking home, and for some reason, I feel like, I don't know if anyone has ever had this feeling, but I feel like something was
Go ahead,
out
Angie.
there. And like it was behind me. So I actually sped up and started running. And I felt like whatever it was running on my heels. So I remember jumping in the door, and we didn't lock our doors at the time. We still weren't locking doors. Accidentally we did because of the way the doors were made.
Yeah.
Because you could just turn it in any way you wanted to on the inside. On the inside, even if it was locked, it would still turn, but the outside will be locked, if you know what kind of lock I'm talking about.
Right.
So I hopped in, jumped in real quick, locked the screen door and locked that door, and was just kind of getting tickled at myself. And I can't remember what it was, but I had something. It wasn't a flashlight, but I remember going to the bar and laying something down, and I can't remember what that was. But I just remember going over there, and then I went to my room and just pulled off my shorts and just got into bed. And when my head hit that pillow, and it was dark out, because I don't think we had the floodlight up yet. We only had the porch light.
Mm-hmm.
But it was dark out. Oh my goodness. I heard the most evilest life that I don't even think I've even heard Hollywood produce.
Really?
It scared me in so bad that I couldn't even holler for my mom and daddy. That I just prayed. And I can't remember. I just remember praying, and in no time, it's just like in no time did I have to lay there and be scared. Or it's just like I fell asleep. And I think the good Lord just put me in a good sleep and a good safe sleep and rebuked that thing away.
Yeah.
I told Mom the next morning, and of course she just got tickled. She said, "Oh, you probably heard one of the dogs. One of the dogs do something around the house." I'm like, no dog did this. It's like
Right.
it's like we're so, I don't know why we do that.
Well,
I guess we've been so protected from evil that when a child does hear something, we do, want to protect them, and we do usually think it's something like it. We just don't automatically go to evil, you know what I mean?
sure.
But that was definitely something evil.
Yeah, that was trying to catch you, right? Chasing you.
Yeah, it's just like it hopped in with me, which was weird. But I'll tell you, the dream that we called her Mama Nelly because she was my sister-in-law's mama, and she was a good, devout Christian woman.
Mm-hmm.
Just like my grandmother was, just like my husband's grandmother was. Like, we were fortunate for all the grandmothers around to be devout Christian women, which is why we had such a good community growing up. It was good. I'm not saying everybody was without fault, or nobody ever committed sin or anything.
Right.
I'm talking about their faith was pure and close. And they didn't just sit and talk about people. They could talk about good things,
Right.
But before some events happened in my life. She was crying one day, and my sister-in-law asked her, and she had my mom come over, and they said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she said, "I had a dream," and she was kind of prophetic, and she could interpret dreams. Mm-hmm. She had gifts. I know some people of other denominations, they may not understand that, but if you read the Bible, we are given, those who serve God and stuff. Some people, they just don't tap into it and use what they're supposed to, but we're all given diverse gifts. Right. To help one another and to glorify the kingdom, because if we all could do the same thing, then we ain't going to accomplish much. But anyway, she said, I had a terrible, terrible dream about Angie, and said she has got a big enemy against her. And the best that I can remember, it was me in a coffin and a big snake just slithering across that coffin.
That's terrible.
Yes, I mean, you imagine having that dream about a 12-year-old, 13-year-old child. Just pure joy and loving God and not into meanness, just a regular, typical child that you know and love,
Right. Yeah, that would definitely be taken as a.
And I want to say this. I want to say this about me and my cousins, most of us. We loved our music, don't get me wrong. But we were innocent in our music. Yeah. We didn't like anyone that depicted anything. The worst that we had ever seen was Ozzy Osbourne, and we wouldn't even listen to Ozzy Osbourne. And I'm not condemning anyone else that has, okay?
Sure.
I'm just telling you from our perspective. If they had that kind of persona, we wanted nothing to do with anything that was evil. We just wanted, like in the 80s, music was about happiness, feel good, get along, and there was just so much variations in music.
Right.
That I know that music is not inherently evil, but now it's definitely being used in the wrong way, especially today.
Yes, they put subliminal messages in there. Same with movies.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. There's an agenda. There's an agenda. And I want to tell people, if you don't think horror movies won't bring things into your house, I've got a niece that can tell you different and show you different. I know people like them, but they take them too far.
Yeah.
And back then, when they could tell those things were fake and didn't show everything, that was good enough.
Sure.
We didn't have to have everything looking realistic. But anyways, backing up to where I was going with this. She said I had an enemy, and I was like, at the time, I was like, well, who on earth would have an issue with me, little old me? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so with Mom, but of course she was keeping me close, which this reminded me, just let me step back. But we think this was just a little mean little cousin that wrote this, or step cousin that wrote this. But back when we lived down the road when my parents was running a store, one day my mom found something someone had wrote. And this is just when I was only like in the first or second grade. Someone had wrote in chalk on the back of a bedroom door, it says, Angie, I've been watching you. And something to the point that they were going to unalive me.
Really?
Yes. And my mommy was like freaking out. I was like, what's wrong with you? And finally she drug me by the arm. She said, you see this? And she scrubbed it off. She said, that's why I don't want you going this, because back then we just had the countryside to play in, because we knew everybody and could just run and play. But she scrubbed that out before my dad could see it, because she knew he would go ballistic. Could you see that message, or that she said,
Yeah.
I believe that was just so and so. Another kid that wrote that just to be whatever.
Yeah.
So we just scrubbed that off and didn't think about it. I really don't think that was anything. I think it was what Mom said. But still, yet that was pretty ugly for a kid not much older than you to ride, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. That's
But
death threat's never a good thing to write down, no matter how old you are.
no.
So was the house that you living in at the time, was it haunted or anything like that, Angie?
Our home, the home that my mom and dad built, no. No.
Okay, good.
It never. What I was going to say about that, though, was a few years later, I did go through a traumatic event. I did lose someone, and it wasn't me in the casket, but it was someone very near and dear to me.
Hmm.
And the boys that was surrounding me, she did say there were some boys. The boys that were surrounding me were the person's cousins supporting me. And yes, I can say that that adversary has been a big enemy to me that has fought me tooth and nail. I went from age 17 when that happened to like feeling like I was 45.
Oh, wow.
Because it just, I had went through enough death and enough other stuff that I understood. I understood life and death perfectly, but when that happened, that just flipped me completely upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a traumatic event that cuts that deep, that is definitely when he'll come to attack. When you've got that open wound,
Right, when you're at
that's
your
when
weakest.
that's when the roaring lion will come.
Yes.
And he had me. People. I've never heard what you would say, a voice, but a thought that's just instantly implanted in your head that wasn't from you.
Yeah.
I've had the Lord answer questions instantaneously, showing me things. But thank God, I was raised with a strong foundation, with a strong family, that I knew the tricks of the enemy of what he would do. But yeah, he pretty well, when I was going through that, he had me thinking that I had committed the unforgivable sin, which I didn't even know what the unforgivable sin was. But my mind, during this deep grief, my mind was going through, you've heard of people having Tourette's?
Mm-hmm.
My mind was going through, not like a bunch of bad cussing or anything, but other stuff. But just where I couldn't have any peace. And he said, and I know where it was coming from. He said to me, you've went ahead and you've done the unforgivable. And said, your mama can't help you. Your daddy can't help you. And said, God's sure not going to help you because you've done the unforgivable. Said, you might as well just give it up and go ahead and do it. Talking about unaliving myself. Coming from a family that's already experienced that. Well, first of all, I won't do that because I'm not putting my soul in that kind of jeopardy. I don't know what would happen. And for people that lost loved ones like that, I'm not saying that your loved one is there. I think mental illness plays a big factor in that, but I think a lot of times too that the enemy has a hand in that. And when he does that, he does it for a reason. And this was a soul that he wasn't going to get. Okay?
Right.
So I don't need to offend anyone about that, but I understand both sides of the spectrum. And number two, what we went through, it's not dealing with a normal death when you go through something like that. It's a whole different, worse experience when you have to go through the emotions of being angry with the one that's died that you
Right.
love.
Knowing that they did that to themselves. Yeah.
Yes. And knowing it could have been prevented and all that, just all those extra things you have to deal with. I wasn't going to do that, but I feel gutted. And when it was going through my mind, my mom and my uncle were talking, and they just stopped talking. And I must have the most pitiful look on my face because Mommy said, "Honey, what's wrong?" And of course, that was another thing that you just can't open up. It's so dreadful, so shameful,
Right.
so hopeless. Later on, I did, but not at the time. I carried it with me for a long time. So I want to tell you, spiritual, a lot of people don't recognize it. But a lot of things that they want to say is mental illness, a lot of it is exacerbated or is spiritual warfare.
Sure.
And I seen right then and there, I said, it ain't no wonder that some people end up in that condition because they don't know what's going on and they don't know how to call upon God. And then the enemy takes them out because he can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But he can convince you to do it.
Right.
And that's where we need to really be speaking up, telling people you are in control. And if you notice right now, the biggest agenda that they're feeding our youth is to be ruled by your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you feel, go with it. And see, look how dangerous that is.
Right.
But I won't go down that avenue, but that's something that we really need to counteract and really be proactive because as Christians, we've dropped the ball.
Yes, we become undisciplined and ungodly. Just like the Bible says, in the end days, we'll be lovers of ourselves and lovers of money instead of lovers of God, and that's a lot of people.
And we've let them use psychology against us, just like they're doing with the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Like the word tolerance. Tolerance. No, we don't have to be tolerant to evil.
Right.
We don't have to be tolerant to sin. And I think we've been raised in times to where we could live and let live and keep our mouths shut and stuff, but I think we let that carry over too far to where, Lord of mercy, people's letting the state raise their children, and then to hear of poor old parents that go in to complain about the evil that's being shown to their children, and then them get labeled as a terrorist. Mm-hmm. Is something straight out of China.
Right. Well, that's, everybody better start learning how to speak Mandarin if something doesn't happen soon, because that's what we'll be speaking. And you're right, Sister Angie. Apathy is deadly. You have to stand. You have to make a stand for what you think is right, and they put things in the water and in your food and spraying things in the air that take away away your passion, right? They take away your ambition and take away your will to.
That's what I'm trying to tell people. I said, you don't realize it. I said, but we're under warfare in every way you can imagine. They're coming at you psychologically. They're coming at you through entertainment. They're coming at you through our chemicals. They're coming at us, our foods. They're killing us with our foods.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're putting abominable things in our food. And people's not believing it. It's just like they're walking around, and it reminds me so much. I don't know if anyone ever watched. Do you remember the show Supernatural?
Now, I never watched that, but I'm pretty sure Latisha did. And it was like 47 seasons of that. Because I remember for months and months, I come in from work and she'd be watching that. And what are you watching, babe? Supernatural.
I think there's like 20 seasons or something.
Right. She watched it forever, but no, I never did watch it. I'm not much of a
Okay, well, Latisha can probably remember when the Leviathan were in the season with the Leviathan.
Yes.
And they were ruling things. You heard of predictive programming.
Sure.
Okay, well, what the Leviathan were doing, they were putting a chemical into the food that was making people just like zombies. just lining up for the food and just lining up to the draw to just go easily to the slaughter.
Right.
And that's exactly what people are doing right now. We have people that can get on TV and can admit that aliens are demons. And they have done that from the Pentagon. They have admitted that they are aliens, but that they're of a demonic origin.
Now, I saw where they admitted that there were aliens and that they were a national threat, security threat to the country, but I didn't see where they admitted they were demonic in nature.
Yes. One general or whatever he did say, he said, this reporter was asking him, he said, but he was telling people to do not try to contact them because they were of a demonic origin.
Right. I believe that 100%, Angie. And people
and
believe that there's... I'm sorry, go ahead.
L.A. Marzulli, he has been on this like since the 80s or 90s. This has been his wheelhouse since the 80s or 90s. He has traveled all over the world. Yes, the Sumerian text. I know people take big stock in it, but the Sumerian text, it's just a historical thing. It does not depict a prophetic thing like the Bible does, okay? And not arguing with anybody about that. I mean, really and truthfully, those texts and those kind of things, they're just reinforcing what the Bible says. I mean, and I want people to understand this. Satan fell, of course. He's going to get down here and he's going to have his side of things that he's wanting to write before people can get to the written word of what God is. But God's people handed down stuff the way the Indians do. That's oral traditions, like our people, like 100 people seen Jesus ascend. Yeah. And those people weren't lying. That's the reason that's the reason it was in history. That's the reason biblical history is there. They couldn't deny it. That's the reason they put in the year of our Lord. Do people think that they would actually go to all that if it wasn't proven that Jesus Christ walked and existed, was crucified, and resurrected? No. They would not have hunted down 11 apostles to kill when all they wanted him to do was deny Christ and say he wasn't the Christ. Then they would have been spared the horrific deaths, but they said, no, he is Jesus Christ. That was our Messiah. People don't realize that, though. They hunt over the years. They hunted them down and give them horrific deaths over that. Do they think that people are going to lie over that? And then you can trace back his lineage to his brothers. You can go to Peter's grave. That's under a cathedral. I mean, they just don't do their research.
Yeah.
If they actually done their research, they could find these things. But I don't want to get off on a tangent to take your, to some place where.
Well, everybody needs to hear the truth. Everybody needs to hear the truth, Sister Angie, and that's what this channel's for.
Yeah, so they go to the Bible Museum, and if you honestly ask, I will promise you this, and I don't make promises lightly. If any person sincerely, now I'm talking about sincerely, wants to know something and wants to know if God is real, if he's our Lord, and you ask with a sincere, open heart, he will lead you and he will show you.
Right.
He will lead you and he will show you. But now listen, when you ask for wisdom and things like that, be ready for the load, because when you start seeing things, the world for what it really is, it's a heavy crown to wear.
Right, it's a heavy burden. It is, and
it is. You're walking around with a lot of other people that's still dumb and or innocent, and you don't want to steal their innocence away, but at the same time, you want to warn them of what's going on, and that a lot of these people that, I'm sorry, but the idol worship has got to stop. Worshiping these celebrities and stuff like that, and they are working against you willingly, leading your children to hell. Spellcasting, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's even
through their videos and their lyrics, and it's terrible. And they don't even try to hide it anymore.
If you get that mad and upset over a celebrity, over someone even questioning something about them, or when you get mad over the name of hearing the name of Jesus, or a Christian upsets you, I want to ask the person to look within themselves and ask them, why does that upset them so badly?
Right.
To think about that. Why does that upset you so badly? And also to ask why no other religion bothers the world, or no other name bothers the world but Jesus Christ and Christians.
Sorry, Sugar Bridges. Stay safe out there. Sorry you're having some storms. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to make sure that
be safe, Sugar Bridges.
Saying some prayers for you.
Yeah, God bless Sugar Bridges. She's a sweetie.
Yes, she is.
But that's something that people should pay attention to. That every other one can be mocked. I mean, only ours can be mocked, but all the other ones are safe.
They're good, yeah. And all religions have a Christ-like figure. So all the other religions say, okay, Christ is a way to heaven, but ours is a way too. But Christ says
exactly, and even then, that's the part you hit on it. That's the point that I was trying to make. Even in those false religions, they admit that Jesus Christ. They'll say he was a prophet, that he was a good man, or he was this. Even they cannot deny that Christ existed.
Right.
They have to admit that Satan knew what he was doing back then because he couldn't deny it, because if he denied it, then he didn't have anywhere to go with it. But by creating all these other false paths, saying, yes, he was this, but using these false prophets and false idols, it all leads back to the same rooted source. And, that's just like what they call me is, I believe, like all these Greek gods, or I believe a lot of them, and all of these different names, I believe a lot of them stand for the same person, but just in a different language. And I believe those are fallen angels that they were worshiping.
Right. So
or the Nephilim.
Yeah, or their offspring, right? Their offspring of the Nephilim was the men of renown, which is like the Greek gods, Hercules.
Yes.
Adonai, yeah.
And like those chimeras, like the half horse, half man, half this, half that.
Yeah.
I believe that's where, God said they sinned against humanity and the animals alike. I believe they was playing Frankenstein, and I believe those things really existed, which is how we've got dogmen.
Right.
Catmen.
We have to realize, too, that the evil spirits of the earth can manifest in any shape they want.
Exactly.
So whether it's a dog man or ape man or a moth man or
I believe
a bright light in the sky.
Spirits masquerading as different things. And the thing about where people are getting it wrong, you have the UFO group that wants to say, no, we can't go with that. You have the other group saying, no, we can't go with that. Well, they would just realize it's all from the same rooted source.
Exactly.
They wouldn't chase their tail forever.
And that's a lot of people in the cryptid. I hate that word. It's so misleading. But a lot of people in the cryptid community, they focus only on one piece of the puzzle. Like they're Bigfoot researchers, right? But they don't research Dogman or Mothman or ghosts or UFOs, nothing like that. And
or how one group can believe in one thing but not believe in another.
Right,
it's
exactly.
Just so
and so to me, it's like, how can you look at one piece of a puzzle and see the whole picture? You can't do it. So you have to look at everything together to see what's really going on. And when you do, the dots are right there. All you have to do is connect them. You have to be brave enough. Well, you have to be brave enough to connect those dots. And those dots, when you connect them, will create a path that leads to the truth. Right? And the cryptid community, they're afraid of that because,
it leads to God.
Right. That's the two things that are at the bottom of the rabbit hole. Everybody's like, oh, I'm going down the rabbit hole on this one. Well, and I've said this many times before. There's only two things that await you at the very bottom of that rabbit hole. Two things down there, and that's God and the devil. So that's what you're going to find down there, no matter which path you take down that rabbit hole.
We are in the seed war. We are
in the seed war. Now, a lot of people don't know what a seed war is. Had some person ask me one time, he was, I don't know, a different wasn't really a religious guy at all. He's like, you worship a God that tell his people to go into a town and kill every man, woman, and child, and even all the animals in that town. What kind of God is that? And I explained to him that all the people that they were supposed to kill, their DNA was corrupted. They weren't people at all. They had corrupted DNA. Their bloodline was corrupted by the Nephilim. So,
and they were in a big state of evil. That's like these books will.
But they take that against God. They don't realize.
Uh-oh. We lost her.
Yeah, we lost her. Yeah, but they don't
That's
really.
Jetty Smoother.
Well, how did that happen?
I don't know. That was weird. Somebody don't.
JD must have been calling me. Okay, now JD's going to be the guest next week. Let's see if we can get Angie back here.
I thought the other one guy was going to be the guest next week.
No.
Hello.
Sorry, Angie, we lost you there.
Yeah, you were there, but I can hear you all.
Oh, really?
I can see your picture. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but
that was weird. Well, we're talking about things that there we go. We're talking about things that the people that run platforms like this, they don't want people to know.
Exactly.
They don't want people to hear the truth, and they'll do whatever they can to stop that, you know. And the YouTube channels that are truthers like us and Blondes and Booze and several others, you know, we have all kinds of problems.
Exactly.
They take away your subs, they take away your views. We had them take away 1,200 views one time after one video.
Man.
And they take away subs every day. So let me once again remind you guys, if you are a subscriber, please check to make sure you're still subscribed. You might be surprised to find that you're not. And we don't unsubscribe people. Also, analytics tells me that 40% of my watchers are not subscribers. And I'll have to ask you, why not? It's free. You know.
You reckon they don't know that they can do that? Or they're watching from a TV and don't know how?
Well, I don't know.
It's possible.
I don't know. It's possible, but.
Or it may be people that the Lord's dealing with, and they have the contentious spirit that they don't want to subscribe, but they're wanting to hear what we've got to say.
Right. Well, all I'm saying is subscribing is free. So if you like the content that we're trying to bring to you guys, which is the truth,
yes, support the channel, please.
Please support the channel. Hit the like button. Share it.
It's free.
Yeah.
And hit the like button and subscribe. It's free. It doesn't take anything away. It'll help promote and keep the channel going so you can hear what you want to hear.
Right. So you can't hear the truth and not have a bunch of smoke blowed at you. And someone said something in the comments the other day. Anyone notice how everything's getting stranger and stranger with this channel's outings? And I'm like, I sure noticed it. I can't say that anybody else has, but we've noticed it, sure. And someone said, you think they're doing it for money? I'm going to tell everyone right now, my integrity is not for sale. I was born poor. I've lived poor my whole life. I'll probably die poor. That's what the good Lord has in store for me. That's fine. They'll lay me down my grave without a penny. But my integrity will be with me, and my honor. They will both be buried with me. I do not lie.
Listen, the people that are close to that's in the God vine, we can discern one another.
Yes.
And Barton and Latisha are solid.
Thank you.
They are solid.
Thanks so much, sister.
I just want to
tell you something, it's going to be based on the word, and it's not going to be outside of it to lead you a different path.
Right. I pray every night that the Lord takes me home or strikes me deaf and dumb before he ever allows my mouth to utter one single word.
Me too. Or before my mind anything goes to a place that's unforgivable or would do anything unforgivable. Yes, indeed.
Hey guys,
yes,
I just wanted to say, Krista said good night to everybody. She was signing off. She's had a really long weekend. She's been gone all weekend on a business trip. So she said good night. So y'all are just stuck with me and Barton.
Good night, Krista. Thank you for being here.
Good night, Krista. We love you.
Wolf sister there. But yeah, Angie, so have you ever seen any kind of UFOs or strange lights up, this other part of the state?
Well, used to, I would say no, but here lately we have.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom has. She's noticed when it's been shining, like it's shining down, particularly down where her house is. And then we had a week here. There was one that I actually shared that it was moving. It wasn't moving the way a plane would move. Like it was going in a certain direction, like a plane would.
Yeah.
It was doing it. It was so far up there that it was like it was slow, but it was moving so fast that it gave an appearance. And when it went, the way I could tell was as I was holding my cell phone up there, and then I would have to move my phone with it as it was going.
Mm-hmm.
And it had like different colored lights going off on it, but I don't know if the phone picked that up or not.
Right.
And it's like one night out there, it's like satellites or something. I don't know if they were satellites that were up there, but they were just like moving all over the place, and some were like moving gradually and slow, and then some of them were moving faster, but this one really bright one. And I had to get my husband out there to see, because he's out all the time like, nah, that's probably whatever. But I said, you've got to see this. So I made him come out there and see it, and he's like, wow. He said, I have never seen that one there before, and we have never seen it there since.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
what did it look like? It was just a bright light?
Yes, it was really bright. And a lot of these had like 5 points to them.
5 points?
And some of, like 5 points. And then some of them would put you in the mind of a shape. And now I know this is going to sound so silly. Do you remember that little ship, though, like on Galaxy Inn or whatever the name of that game was, the little ship that would move back and forth?
Okay. Yeah, Galaga.
Yes. Do you remember how they were kind of shaped?
Yeah, sure. I was playing that just a year or two ago with bats. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, some of them look kind of shaped like that. And
wow.
yeah, but I had never noticed anything. But here lately, yes. And for the last few nights, I know it's probably been clouds, but our little boy, he loves to see the moon. And It was bright. Because when it looked like it was clear as a whistle, and my husband is saying, "Where is the moon?"
Right.
And then there's people taking pictures that like planets are showing up in their pictures, or it's looking like 2 suns.
Yes, yeah, you're talking about Planet X and the Biru. Yeah, that's.
Fisher Spam asked a question. What color were the lights?
What color were the lights, Angie?
I want to remember like a red and green.
Red and green.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was really up there, and it was moving at a different angle, a different pace. And to me, it was really high up there. But the other ones I would notice was gradually, I was watching them. Started out in one spot, and then it gradually was over the house. And that one, it was out there in that one spot just sitting. And then it sat there, and it didn't move nowhere else until it was gone. And it was there right before he left for work. Now, I don't. We looked on the news, we didn't hear anything of any drone activity or anybody saying this was going on over here, over there, or whatever. So I don't know what's going on, but now I don't trust certain agencies, or if they'll let a weather balloon from China float across the United States.
Right. Yeah, and then shoot it down after it's already across the United States, finished with its mission. Shoot it down into the ocean. Yeah. I don't trust any agency.
I don't know. Who knows what is up there?
Right.
Over us, what it's doing, and everything. I've just been telling people, look up, pay attention, just to see what's going on.
Thank you, James. Hello, James says the greetings from the Cave Run area in Kentucky. Well, hello from Henderson, Kentucky, and the other part of the state where
Hello,
Sister Angie
yeah,
is
hello from Eastern Kentucky.
from Eastern Kentucky.
Spilling Tea with Sparky asked for prayers. They're having some pretty severe storms going on in her area too. So
Yes,
you guys
please.
start sending
God bless
prayers.
her and protect her. I've been praying for everyone because we had some go through her area and right down the state. Went all the way up to the home place. Put
Right.
electricity out.
Night, Jimmy.
Night,
I
Jimmy.
just
Good
thank
night,
God
Sister
nobody was
Sherry.
killed.
Yes, thank the good Lord. You know, we can replace anything but our lives. And Sister Sherry has to go. She's having problems tonight, so please keep her in your prayers too.
I will, but
she's
now
an angel.
this is going to be kind of spooky what I'm going to tell next, and maybe you had to keep your audience more engaged because I hope to God I'm not boring them with mine.
Well, no, the truth is never boring, Angie. So you know, and we need the truth in all things, not just the truth of one thing. So.
And I want to put a trigger warning out there, okay? This was back, like, in the 40s and things. And when you have to deal with people couldn't afford to have rabid animals running around.
Right.
And the cruelest thing, like my papa taught me, the cruelest thing you can do is to set a dog out and let it starve to death. Or get eat up with mange. Or anything like that. The most humane thing you can do, an ethical thing to do, is put it down.
Right.
And and I'm not, and men back then, believe me, they could do one shot and it was over with. I'm not talking about shooting something 50 times.
Sure.
I hate that I have to go there, but a lot of people don't understand, so I just want to explain it as clearly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But he had this one dog, and for some reason, I don't know all the details to it, but that dog was going to have to be put down, and there was something about that dog that wasn't hardly right.
Mm-hmm.
So he took it off way, way, way up the road. And believe me when I said that, if that man killed something, he killed it because he wouldn't let anything suffer or linger.
Right.
He taught me and my cousin that a lesson hands on because, well, I can tell you about that later. So I know for a fact he wouldn't let anything be half life suffering, just laying there. If he killed something, it was dead. That you could take to the bank. Well, he come home, looked out the window, and that dog was sitting out there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely unnerved him.
The one that he killed, the one that he put down?
Yes.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yes.
Well, that would unnerve me too, I have to say. Now,
That
Owens, my buddy Harley Owens, his wife,
yes.
and I don't mean to interrupt you, Sister
No,
Angie, but
go ahead.
Harley
Go
Owens,
ahead.
his wife has broke her ankle, and they're going through a hard time too, and he asked for prayers too. So you guys remember Harley Owens and his family? Did you read his name? I'm pretty sure I wrote it down.
God bless Harley Owens and his family, dear Lord, and move in his need.
God bless you, Harley, and we'll be talking to you soon, daughter.
I did read his name, I'm sure.
Okay, go ahead now, Sister Angie. I'm sorry. I know that sometimes when they say something like that and I don't happen to see it, it'll go by and I'll miss it completely. So,
by all means, no. When someone needs prayer, mention it. You're not interrupting or bothering anybody. But
so
yes,
what did he do?
I don't know what he did with that dog. He might not have done nothing with that dog.
I was going to ask you, did he shoot it again, or did he? I mean, what?
I would have to ask Mommy, but I think he just, I don't know if it left on its own or what, but yes, sirree. Honey, he come home and looked out the window, and there sat that dog. And yes, sirree.
Yeah, that's probably like out of a Stephen King book or something.
That's what this says.
Oh, yes, indeed. If you only knew him, he and Daddy was the two people. But this is what one man said at a four-wheeler. He said, there's two places that I slow down by when I go by their house. And he said, that was uncle, and that was my papa. He was his uncle to him, a great uncle. And then my daddy, because like I said, they were gentlemen, strong men, and Dad was kind of his protege, but at the same time didn't disrespect them, and they knew that if they had to, they would go up against anything that they had to go up against.
Right.
So when I say he killed something, he definitely killed it. And when he come back there and seen it, it scared him. It scared him. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that though? I mean,
yeah, I can't imagine that. How did it change him? Did it change the way his outlook on life and death, or I mean, or do you know if it changed him? Would it make a profound change in me? I tell you that.
He always knew he was always a God-fearing man.
Mm-hmm.
But he had strange things happen to him. He was the one that seen the man that run around the car disappear that time. That jumped out at him. And he was the one that had the hot breath that was invisible and blow in his face, and all he had each time was a pocket knife. And back then there wasn't electricity, so, and in the mountains are pretty dark.
Oh yeah.
The mountains are pretty dark.
Yeah.
And it was his brother-in-law was the one that seen I guess, I don't know if they were children or what, but they were up in the hills and they seen a man with a bird's head on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And that was up in Kentucky, or Eastern Kentucky too?
Yes. And I was little and I remember hearing them talk, and I don't know what else they was talking about, but that stuck in my head.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a strange description for an Inhumanoid Birdman.
Yeah, sure did. And I would love to talk to some of them. Now they're gone, and it's untelling what they could have told me.
Right, and it's such a tragic loss. Like my dad, he was the best storyteller I've ever heard. And when we were young, we didn't need a TV. We had a little black and white 19-inch TV set, but we hardly ever used it because Dad would sit there and tell us stories, and they would all be true, and that was the main thing about him. They were all true stories, and the way he told stories was just fantastic. I just wish I could have recorded some of them or written them down. But
Barton, the sad thing about it is we lose our heritage, and the truth when we lose our elders.
Yes.
And here we are. We're the middle-aged people now.
I did not get it.
And I don't mean that to insult anybody.
Okay, Truth
but,
Walker.
You take like my mommy, she's 76. She's the elder. All them ones that we had that was without over, but were the active 30 and 40-year-olds back then that could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, I want to tell you something. Them at that age, they could outdo what most 17-year-olds do today.
Right.
Lolo says, why do you think the dog lived?
Maybe it didn't. Maybe it was the ghost of the dog. Or a demon looking like a dog.
That's the question. There was something about that dog that wasn't
natural.
Wasn't natural.
Right. And if anybody has any questions for Sister Angie, please go ahead and write them down. Make sure you use all caps so we won't miss any.
Hey, Truth Walker, could you send that again? I've looked on here everywhere and I cannot find that. So I don't know if it just didn't go through or what. So if you'll just try to send it again, I'll look again.
And I can tell you all one that I've never told you before about my husband's grandmother.
Can I say something real quick before you start?
Sure.
We need everybody, please say some prayers for Gary Spikes. He's needing some prayers sent out. So
prayers for your brother Gary. You're such a nice guy.
He helps everybody out. He's on.
Yes.
He's a mod.
God bless you,
every chat in the world right now, but he really does a lot of hard work for us. And so please just he needs some prayers.
Gary Spikes Jr. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's a special man. I'm going to get him on the show sometime and tell us some of his stories. But he, in real life, I've met him a couple of times, and he's this nice in real life.
God bless you, Gary. We'll be praying for you.
God bless you, Brother Gary. Hope it all goes well. You need to give me a call sometime after this weekend. I'd like to talk to
And
you.
anything, listen, I don't say this just to anybody or whatever, but if this show ever needs me for anything, that's how much I believe in you all and the Inhumanoid family.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank
Let
you
me
so
know,
much.
and I will try to help in any way that I can.
Well, thank you so much, Sister Angie. I hope everyone
I
heard
just want
that.
to say that, and I do pray. I pray for everybody and all those prayer requests that go up because we all need each other.
Absolutely.
We need
sure
each other's
do.
prayers.
Prayers do work. I've seen it happen. I had this one friend. She had been on life support for 2 weeks, and they're gonna pull the plug on her. And she was a friend of a friend that I'd helped find for this fella. And when he found her after all these years, she had fallen and hit her head and was in a coma. And they were going to pull the plug, and I asked for prayers, and about 500 people prayed for this woman. And right before they pulled that plug, she woke up. So
Praise
prayer,
the Lord.
right? Hallelujah for that. Prayers do work. You guys, please remember everybody in their prayers. Also, ask that you pray to everyone traveling to the Alabama conference, makes it there and
Yes.
back safely. You've got a lot of bad things happening outside in this world right now. Without some kind of divine protection, you're going to be in big trouble. So,
Well, the good Lord can divert that, and He has
Right.
diverted that. That's the reason so many of us, they probably think we live in a bubble, but we do live in a protective bubble.
we do.
He does shield us from a lot.
That's how I can get out there in LBL looking for this beast, Sister Angie,
Exactly.
without any fear at all. And
And I can attest to bringing them off their deathbed because my daddy was one of them.
Mhm.
And listen to this. He had sugar diabetes and we didn't know it. The week before, he had went to a clinic and they had drew his blood and they had called and left a message over, I guess it was like a Friday, but over the weekend, he hadn't received that message. He had already struck too sick.
Mhm.
So he rode up the road to have a man drive him to a doctor's office. Well, the man wasn't home or something, but when Daddy come home, fortunately, his Bronco was a stick shift. So when he passed out, his foot come off the clutch, so that automatically stopped
Yeah.
his vehicle. Well, my sister-in-law went over to check on him, and he had sat in that hot vehicle for so long that under his arms, next to his side and chest, had scalded together.
Wow.
Well, we got the ambulance called and stuff, and he had fluid built up on him. I think it was like 20 gallons of fluid they got off of him, and his sugar was 1,200.
Oh,
goodness.
wow.
1,200. We got up to the first hospital, and me and Mommy was passing this ambulance, and now this is an honest truth. May the good Lord strike me if I'm lying. And she said, I said, God bless that person in that ambulance. I said, Mommy, let's pray for them as we go by. Because, we didn't know their need or who there was. And she said, and we got to looking, and we was praying, and she said, she said, that person has hands that looks like your daddy's. Well, we got inside, and I told him who I was, and I gave him my dad's name, and I said, and I was asking about him and his status. And they said, honey, he said, you just missed him. They're loading him up right now to transfer him to another hospital. And that was my daddy that was in that ambulance, and that was his hands.
Oh, wow.
And we got over there, and they said his sugar. We have never in our life have ever heard of anyone with sugar that high. And
I've
that
never heard of
doctor
anyone
come
with
in.
sugar that high. Period.
Do what?
I've never heard of anyone with sugar that high. That's
I mean, seriously, and this is. I mean, we have the whole 2 hospitals to prove it. We have the doctors to prove it. We have the community to prove it. We called in. They had us to call in the community and family because this a doctor very seldom ever. Nurses are the ones that more likely tell you the dreadful news, where doctors are the one that's usually more optimistic.
Mhm.
that doctor come in and told me, he said, how long has he had lung cancer? And I said, oh no, I said, he doesn't have lung cancer. I said, I know about the tumor. I said, in the black lung, but I said, that's where he worked on a strip job. Like, I know, I should have listened, but I thought I knew what I was talking about because he had it checked years before. And he said, well, that right now doesn't matter because what's going on now is going to take him out much quicker than what that would. But I believe the whole time looking back on it, because he died of cancer, spread throughout his body, specifically renal cell carcinoma. But I believe that he did have it then. But anyways, people came in, prayed for him, talked to me, and do you know, yes, he was raised above his deathbed. The doctor told me literally his words, calling a family, go ahead, be making the funeral arrangements because he is not going to make it.
Yeah.
He is not going to make it. And when they got that fluid off of him, a nurse said, you look like a totally different person. She said, I thought you were a big, big man when you came in here because he was so swollen. And when he would take a breath, it was just like, and it was as far as he could get it, and you can hear him sloshing. But yeah, I know, I can tell you a lot of things like that where God has moved. If people ask, well, how do you know God is real? Believe me, I know God is real.
Right. He's the one true living God. And prayers for you, Jenny.
Yep.
She needs some prayers against spiritual attacks in her dreams. So yeah, prayers for you,
yeah.
sister.
They will attack you in your dreams big time and leave an awful feeling over you.
Prayers, Jenny.
Thank goodness I don't
Truth
remember
Walker,
my
I'm still
dreams.
trying to get my phone to update, so I'm still waiting to get your email. I'm sorry. I will read it if this ever works. I don't know what's going on.
Well, authentication in progress.
God bless and prayers for Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Jenny and Joe Barger, good friends.
Oh, yes. God bless her.
Used to be Pink Dahlia. Now she is
the Eclipse
Truth.
Yes, yes. God bless her. She seems to be a good person.
She is. Her and Joe both are just fantastic people, and we love them both. So
yes, God bless them.
Hopefully,
we'll be praying for them.
Right, and I don't remember my dreams now. If I take a nap during the daytime and I wake up, I remember if I've dreamt something. But at night, I have no memories of my dreams at all, and I probably should be glad about that, as much as I've been through my life. So,
yeah, I think the prophetic ones we remember, and I think the troubled ones we remember, and then I think the spiritual attack ones sometimes we do because it's a spiritual attack.
it is, and it says in the Bible we don't fight against fleshly adversaries. The fight is against
principalities,
powers and principalities of the earth, right? And I don't know, people they read the Bible. The few that do seem to have, very few of them seem to have a discernment or a comprehension of what that Bible's saying, and it's just really disheartening to know that, the Bible.
It is.
It has everything that you need to learn while you're alive, right?
Right.
So a lot of people says, well, this is not important or that's not important. The only thing important is Jesus, accepting Jesus as your Savior, and that's true. It is the most important thing. But if that was the only thing God thought you needed to know, then the Bible would be less than one page long.
That's right. And listen, if we ain't backing that belief up with works and living it, then that belief don't matter, because even the demons
believe in God.
Yeah. Satan believe in God and know He's real.
Sure. That's the way the elites know all the truths that they kept hidden from us for 500 years. The elites already know the truth, but their job is to keep us from finding it out.
And I despise when the devil tries to use scripture against God's people, like, well, you're not supposed to judge. If you're a holy person, yes, you can judge. But how can you judge a person's character if you don't know? Do you see what I'm saying?
Right. We're instructed to judge people to a degree, Sister Angie. And
yes, we know by their fruits.
Right, they're known by their fruits, which that's their actions. So,
exactly.
And we got the
We got the email finally on.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Truth Walker.
She says, a friend of mine told me about something to check that might help subscribers from getting unsubscribed. Has everyone. One, go to your own channel, click on settings or settings icon, scroll down to notifications, scroll down to subscriptions, and make sure the button to the right is blue to show that they are turned on. If that is not turned on, it is on. It is a part of
why the system keeps kicking out the subscriptions.
Thank you. Because I don't have my glasses on.
Yes, thank you, Truth Walker.
Thank you, Truth
That
Walker.
should help.
Yep.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I don't-
Sorry it took so long to
That
get
might
there.
be part of the problem, but it's funny that
Well,
only a few channels have this problem.
Yes, they do. Some more than others.
Right.
Do we want to get into some spooky stuff to entertain your?
Well, we have about 10 minutes, so let's do one more, Sister Angie. I know you could talk for weeks on this, hon. And if I had time now, well, it's almost 11 o'clock where you're at, and we're thinking about moving the show to 7 p.m. instead of 8 to 10, 7 to 9. So people that have to work the next day or have to go to bed, they don't have to stay up so late to watch us and listen to us. So that's probably coming soon. We'll probably be moving to 7 p.m. to 9 time slot to give the break to our Eastern time zone viewers. So y'all make sure your notifications are turned on, okay? And I'll tell everyone on the community page when we do that.
I don't think Angie has a channel. No, you don't have a channel, do you, Angie?
No, but it's kind of been something that's been on my mind to do for a while. Not to compete with anyone, but just for like general current events and how I think people need to understand the history so they can understand what's going on now.
Sure, that's what Jesus says. My people perish from lack of knowledge, and that's what we're doing right now.
Right, and just giving people a space to where if they want to just come on and chat and talk about what they've seen and heard, and people are listening to that more than they are in church. So in some places, so that kind of helps people. And then if you can throw the truth in there to them in a way to a lifeline, then that helps people.
Right. Truthy Ruthie, hello there, Truthy. Tornado warnings in Columbus, Ohio. Prayers for everyone in Columbus, Ohio. Hello there, Charlie. Brother Charlie, how you doing tonight? Kate Webster, you asked a question earlier if Angie was the same person as the one who saw the dogman in the field. No, that was a different witness.
I can tell the one about what happened with Mom and Dad in the 70s.
Okay, yeah, sure.
If you want me to tell that one.
Go ahead, Angie. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in caps because we're running out of time here.
Okay, and I'll do it quick.
Okay, thank you.
This was the late 60s, early 70s. And back then, when we had winter, it was really winter. And we usually had 5 or 6 months of it. And it was big snows, and this one was a big snow, but it was so cold that the snow had frozen solid that you couldn't stump your way through it. Mm-hmm. You would slide.
Right.
Okay. And they were in a little house that was above her papa's mercantile store and house. And I guess they probably just got back from living in Chicago. Well, anyways, they heard something come out through the mountains, crunching in that snow. And the dogs, they out clambered and got under the porch and under the house to the safest place they could get. And they heard that thing crunch, 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 heavy and big because they knew it had to be humongous and heavy to be able to get through that snow. Mm-hmm. And it come up on the porch. And now, hunting dogs aren't afraid of anything.
Except for Bigfoot.
But now these dogs did not attempt to come out on that whatsoever.
Right. Our dogs used to do the same thing, Angie. They'd go underneath the house every time the creatures would come around.
Yes, this was something that was not natural or normal, and it was bipedal. Mm-hmm. And bears were not in the country at the time. Were not in the country. The elk, deer, bear, anything like that, were not in the country during this time. and it come up on the porch, and they thought the porch was just going to absolutely give away from the weight of this thing. And it stood at the door, and all it was just a simple little door lock. And Dad had that one gun, and he sent Mom and my brother back out to the furthest corner of the house. Told them to run out the other, if it come in, to run out the other way, and I guess to go down Poppy's or wherever. But he stood there in front of that door, just a few feet, with his gun aimed, ready to go off. And it sat there. And I don't know if it flew with the doorknob or not. I have to ask her about that. But it sat there. But then it turned around. Decided whatever not to. It probably sensed it. Two, for one thing, that these people were protected by God. And two, there was a man in there ready to go for it over his family.
Right.
And
Same thing
it
happened
turned around. It turned around and it crunched right back off.
Now, did they go look at the footprints the next day?
They tried to by the next day when the sun come up. All the kids had been up through there playing. You know, kids will find a place with a hill or a driveway that they can slide down and stuff like that. But when they looked, they couldn't find anything.
Oh, wow. So they didn't
And
see
that
it,
was
but they
even more
heard it.
perturbing.
Yeah, we used to have that happen almost nightly.
And back then, and even then up to when Dad talked about this, Bigfoot and all that stuff, we hadn't, Bigfoot to me, and him was just a created creature, you know.
A natural.
So nothing like that had entered our minds. It didn't enter my mind until I started watching and listening to these things and trying to think back. Well, is there anything that, whatever, but this was something huge, bipedal, have no clue as to what it was, but yes, and my husband got to hear them, so I'm so glad he got to hear my dad tell that, and I'm glad Mom's still alive to tell it.
Right, well, interestingly enough, when we first moved into this house, we have a really good neighbor, and he's about 80 years old, and we lived here a couple months, and Latisha had been over talking to him and his wife, and he found out what I did on the side, and he said, well, I want to tell you a story, Bart. He said, no, this is the truth. He said, back when I was a little, he'd come in, I was driving in from somewhere, there was snow all over the ground, and I come in and parked in, we had a barn, and I parked in the barn. And I went out got out of the car to shut the door and go into the house. And he said, I heard something walking through that snow. And it was really, really close. And it was heading my way. And it sounded huge. And he said, I got the worst feeling of fear that I ever felt. So instead of going in, I just shut the door and locked myself in the barn. And this thing walked right by the barn, crunched through the snow, deep snow. And after they left, he ran in. And the next day, him and his dad got up to go outside to see what it was by its tracks. There was not a single footprint anywhere.
And they said something.
That tells you right there it's not a natural creation of God, because these things do things that no natural creature can do.
No, and they do to instill fear, too.
Right, and that's what they did. They did plenty of that back in 1975, Squatchin, Kentucky. They instilled fear in everyone and killed all the animals within a mile of our house and dropped them all on our property. So, yeah.
And how much more proof do anyone need that these things are deceivers and are evil?
Well,
God put in the Bible that we are the, how did he word it? In other words, he give us dominion over this earth.
And everything in it.
And,
yes.
And the creatures. He did not create something that could outdo us.
Right.
And instill fear in us that could rip us from limb to limb.
Right. Well, the
That
devil
was
sure did.
ferocious and evil. He did not create those things.
Right. I think they're of the devil, but I have lots of friends now. please keep in mind, I don't profess to be any expert on anything other than how to make mistakes in life. But I have friends who say that they've had good experiences with these creatures, and some of them, even like Brother Gary Spikes, he's had experiences where these things have actually helped him. And I want to get all opinions and viewpoints out in the open, because I have no experience with these nice Bigfoot, only the evil ones. So I can't speak on the nice Bigfoot subject with any authority. So I'd like to get
those
Gary.
poor things were made. They were made without being asked to be made too, and maybe they are some that are
more human than demon.
Yeah, and more docile and stuff. They may be like people or any other creature with
good and the bad.
Right.
So
We
and
got a couple
I'm not
questions in 3
discounting.
minutes.
I'm not discounting anyone's experience as far as
me
that
neither.
goes.
And I don't make fun of anyone because they have different experiences than I do.
No,
I'm trying to learn.
Me either.
If I can learn from you, that's great. And if I can teach you something, that's even better. So if you can teach me something and I can teach you something, wow, that's a great thing. But we have a few minutes. We got some questions here, sister.
That's like me. I'm not trying to offend anyone or anything like it. My only thing is for people to remember this: rebuke first, ask questions later. And if anything tries to teach you that goes against the word of God, then know that they are deceivers.
Right. And the Bible says, test the spirits. Don't take their word for anything. Test them. Ask them about Jesus Christ, and that's the way you test the spirit. So, you got some questions here,
There's
Angie.
one man, I don't know his name, but he had an experience with them, and they are using him, I think, for the very agenda. They're coming down and acting like, they know people want to be special.
Mm-hmm.
That appeals to our ego. They know people want to be special. So they come down to this one guy, and they tell him this is his burden to bear. They burned a tree, and then a new tree started blooming in return, like inside of that burnt tree.
Mm-hmm.
And he got turned off of his church for the way how they acted. But of course, the government rushed in. NASA rushed in to help him. So he's got confidence in NASA now.
Yeah, well, NASA is a satanic organization started by.
Exactly, and they knew that what he was dealing with, that's the reason why they rushed in. So remember that first off.
Right.
And he said what he seen was exactly what it said somewhere, maybe in Ezekiel or whatever. But anything from God always says, fear not, we're here, we're messengers. They let you know that they're messengers from God, and they don't interfere with things or do this or that on their own. They do their messaging and what they want to do, and then they move on.
Right.
But these things kept coming back, instilling fear, caused his children to be mocked, made fun of, caused them headache and grief. And I think they're doing exactly what the agenda is going to be, that they're going to end up telling him, and what they're leading into, that they made him, that there's a true space brethren, and that's just what it all sounds like to me, what is going down that road, because they've already succeeded in separating him from his church family.
Right. We got some questions here for you, Angie, real quick, if you don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna go real quick. Will you be? Catherine Gay said, "Will you be at the conference in Alabama?"
I want to be, but I have to take care of my 3-year-old.
Okay.
And
yeah, your priorities are in line, sister.
That's right.
And children, I would love to. I would so love to, but I just I have a little boy that needs me.
Okay. I can answer this one. Jamie Brinson's asked, "Are you the first speaker, Barton, this Saturday?" No, he is the last speaker, Jamie. So you should get there in time.
Right. Hope to see you there, Jamie.
Yep. And then, why do you think these dogmen are popping more than ever? That's from Multi-Troy 63.
Well, I think it's the time. This is the revelation.
I think this is time. Yes, I think we're in a time of things being revealed, and I think people are being shown more and more, one way or the other. In other words, I think now, I don't know how long this time will go on. I'm not predicting that. But I think a lot of people are coming to God because of the evil that they have experienced
Right.
and seen.
The Bible
And
tells
I
us
think,
Revelation
yes,
for the last 7 years, sister. Okay.
yes, I
that's correct,
think,
honey.
right, I think that things are ramping up and
They
it's
are.
trying to, you know, and I think those things too, when people say, well, it didn't bother me. It could have had me if it wanted me. Well, what they don't realize is, though, right now we're under grace. It's the grace of God that's protecting us from things.
Right.
But there is coming a time, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but there is coming a time that grace is going to be lifted. And when it's going to be lifted, it's going to be a free for all.
With the
It's
beast
going to be a
of the earth.
horrible time.
Right. The Bible calls them the beasts of the earth. I call them Inhumanoids. A lot of people mistakenly call them cryptids. But that's what's coming.
Exactly.
Got another
And it
question,
said that
honey?
they would consume the, there's going to be 1/3 of the planet that dies.
Right.
It said they would consume humans, and that men's heart will fail them.
For fear of what's coming on the earth, yes.
Yes.
Okay, Angie, got another question. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to rush, but we're over
No,
our
go
time.
ahead, honey.
Angie's, what was the unforgivable sin you thought you'd committed in your earlier story?
Blasphemy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not an unforgivable sin. Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit is. You can ask forgiveness for blasphemy, for murder. God's grace and forgiveness is incredible. It's
this
just
was
incredible.
telling me the real, and I was a church going teenager, and my uncle told me, who is a preacher now, he said, honey, he said, let me tell you, he said, first of all, if you had him, you wouldn't care.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't care. It wouldn't bother you. Because notice the ones that have turned their back, they've been turned over to a reprobated mind. They don't worry about it because they're turned over to a point to where they'll never ask for forgiveness.
Right. They're going to be blinded by God. He won't allow them to see the truth. Those people who are like that. They have no hope.
Exactly.
So we need to pray for them. Pray for everybody. Now, Sister Angie, we have to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you so much, Angie.
And we had a guest that was slated to come on, and he felt bad, so you graciously took his place, and we sure appreciate it, and we love you. And I'll be talking to you again very soon, okay?
Okay, and thank you everyone. I hope I didn't bore anybody.
Oh,
I have
my
more
goodness,
stories and stuff.
No. We
thank
love
you
the
for
truth
coming
here.
on.
The truth is never boring.
Anytime you need me, just let me know.
All right,
I'll do that.
Love you.
Lots of love, sister.
Love you all too, and God bless.
All right,
God bless you too. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody, we want to thank the people who so graciously donated tonight. So, honey, you want to go ahead and do that?
Yes, thank you, Gary Spikes, for the 5 Inhumanoid memberships.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to get you on the show soon.
Thank you, little brother Jatesh. Utmost
Yes.
respect to big sister Latisha and big brother Barton. We love you.
Utmost respect and love to you too, brother Victor.
Love you. Shade Viking, but for becoming a member for 7 months. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Shade.
bro.
You know we love seeing
You're
you
one.
on here.
Yes, you're one cool dude. I have to say.
Catherine Gay, thank you for the super sticker. Sugar
Thank you,
Britches, thank you for the super sticker, and you're in our prayers. Hope
Yes,
the
Sugar.
storms pass by.
We love you.
Liberty
We pray for you.
1776, thank you so much. You already read that, right?
Right. Thank you, brother.
And thank
Brother
you.
Tim, we love you, man.
Thank you for the gifts you sent for Barton.
God bless you.
He likes that ring and that shirt.
I do.
Gary Spike Sr. for the 10 Inhumanoids memberships. Hand of God for a membership. Thank you so much. Gary Reed for the 10 Inhumanoid memberships. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary Reed and Gary Spikes.
James Aletto, thank you. Greetings from Cave Run area.
Thank
We
you, James.
appreciate
Brother,
that so much.
brother Kentuckian right there.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Brinson, $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Jamie. Hope
that.
you're at the conference in Alabama, down there in Alabama this
Well,
weekend.
she was one saying she was hoping that you was speaking late,
Mhm.
and that wasn't her. Okay.
Yeah, it was her.
Yep, you'll make it on time, Jamie.
Yeah.
And Alan Howe, thank you so much for the super sticker.
Thank you, Alan. Thank
Yeah.
you, guys. Thanks to everyone for being here. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you, and we love you guys. You're our YouTube friends and extended family, and that's the way we look at you. And we love you guys, and we're praying for you guys. I hope everything's good for y'all, and your life is going well, and you're safe and healthy. And we got a lot of things that are bad things that are supposed to come soon. So just remember, don't be scared. Be prepared. Jesus Christ is the only way, the truth, and the life. So get your affairs in order and take care of one another. Love one another and forgive one another. And that's the best we can do. That's the example that we must set if we call ourselves Christians. So good night, you guys. Until next Wednesday, hope to see you then after this weekend. More content will be coming very, very soon.
Good night, guys. Much love to everybody.
Much love.